So here's the Google Pixel. I have the Pixel XL, and Google says this device has the best camera on the planet. Yeah, supposedly. So we're putting it through its paces to see how well this camera actually handles. Now, the rear camera is a 12.3 megapixel camera. It's got an f-stop of 2.0. You've got large micron size, 1.55, face detection, autofocus, laser focus in there. Now, the front camera is 8 megapixels, f2.4 aperture, fixed focus, 1.4 microns. Lots of sensors in here. You've got a barometer, a Hall effect sensor, Android sensor hub, a lot of sensors that should help with your photo taking in there. I'm not saying all of them actually fix on that, but there are a couple of things in mind to see how well this actually takes photos. Now, couple of cool features. You double tap the home the power button, actually turns on your camera app. Now, while in the app, if you twist, that actually will switch from the rear camera to the front camera. It doesn't twist and go back. Now, the camera app is really simple. If you slide left or right, you go from camera to video. You can toggle, of course, to the front facing camera by hitting that toggle button. At the very top right hand corner, you do have a couple of options. Your flash on and off, clearly indicated. Your white balance indicated also clearly. You have a slider right there for your exposure with a of course number marker. There's a grid setup. There's also a setup for HDR on, off, or auto, and you have a timer. Now, if you go into more, you have slow motion, panorama, autophoto modes. There is no pro mode. In your general settings, you can change, of course, your megapixel size, video recording, and turn on video stabilization because there is no OIS either. Now, this thing takes some really nice photos, but also has an interesting balance, if you will, in terms of photos and videos, and we'll take a look at that in a second. Starting off with video here. Now, this is video, and it does a good job in video in daylight, I will have to say that, but also does an interesting thing because there's no OIS, so you get a lot of software trying to balance out the shakiness while you're walking or moving around with the camera. So I'm going to walk down here on my roof deck, and I'm going to show you how well the software manages that, but you're going to see something really interesting. So as I start walking down, and if I'm shaking, it actually just jumps. The camera actually does this little nudgy jumps. I'm not moving my hand that accurately because I cannot do that. It's the software that's trying to compensate for my hand shaking or just the bumps from me walking down on the deck. So you see those jumps left and right. It still keeps the image in front focus. So really, if you're focusing on one image, it does a good job at that, but everything else kind of moves in frame left and right, which can be annoying, but it keeps whatever you're focusing at steady. Now, when you move to nighttime, this is where you see the other side of the camera that's not so great. It's very grainy. You can see saturation also jumps much more frequently as I'm walking around, and it looks like I'm having an erratic camera time by just moving little nudges left and right. So you get that on nighttime recording that you don't get in daytime. Now, in photos, the front-facing camera doesn't do a fantastic job. I thought it would do much better. And this is what you get with that 8 megapixel f2.4 camera. Now, going to the rear camera, you now see this is where it shines. This is where all that praise comes from. Daylight, you can see how it picks the colors, the yellow, the green, really well in daylight shots. Now, the red here is really oversaturated, but this is something that you can still balance out with your exposure. I just took a standard shot. All shots are in auto mode, basically just clicking and snapping on there with HDR plus on, because that's what this camera is really geared towards too. Now, here's a shot here of Mini Superman, and this is just one shot without HDR. This is the only one I took without HDR, and I really like this shot. You can see how everything pops out. The other shots you're going to see are all HDR shots. You can see what it's trying to do here, and I would say the level of HDR effectiveness is nice. It's not great, but it still does a good job. Now, as we move on to low light photography, again with HDR plus on, it does a good job in capturing, but it really differs from scene to scene. This is where you get a lot of saturation as you keep moving on. So here's a shot here of little Superman at the bar, a lot of lighting. You can still capture him very well, and you see all the details of him quite well without too much, grainy exposure. Now, outdoors with little Superman, now you see where a lot of that graininess comes into play. Again, since there's no pro mode, you really can't fine tune a lot of things here. You can still see what you're capturing. So having a little Superman outside, I can capture him well, I can see him clearly. I can also have the moonlight and all the lights in the background. Here's another shot indoors, and the last shot I'm going to show you is really in a really dark scene. I just wanted to see how well the camera captured. It's not a good indication, but you can see how this is a dark location and see how poorly it does here. But I think what you get from this camera overall is something that shoots well in auto. This is an auto camera. That's the whole idea of what this camera is based around. This is not really an Android camera. We've come to know Android cameras to have a lot of pro mode, a lot of extended functionality in there, things like OIS built into it. So that's where I think the Android fan base is built on around. This, I think Google is trying to attract more iPhone users because here you have something that really is point, shoot, and go. So I wouldn't say this is the best camera on the planet. This is a really good camera that shoots well in auto, and I think a lot of users will like that and be able to take and snap photos, but you might find varying degrees of picture quality, which hopefully can be cleaned up in software updates. So I'll say the camera does a good job. I do like what they've done software-wise with the video camera recording, although I really wish it had OIS combined with the software. I think that would have been a really great expansion, and hopefully there's an update for Pro mode so we can actually take this camera to its full length. So guys, any questions, any comments, let me know. That is the camera on the Google Pixel. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, check out and sign up for our newsletter. If you want images of the wallpaper, it's really pretty much a photo I took. I'll have it up in our Pinterest page. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and always enjoy your entertainment.